Today top stories, August 24th, 2026. Global Intelligence Briefing. Opens with the world watching Washington's next move against Tehran. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is unveiling sweeping new sanctions meant to force Iran to abandon its nuclear program, even as Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz effectively choked and warns any nation joining the sanctions becomes an enemy. Iran's president has said the country cannot continue with war forever, amid signs of internal division over the U.S. memorandum of understanding. Markets are jittery ahead of a pivotal week. Nvidia earnings, the Fed's Jackson Hole symposium, and fresh U.S. Canada tariff friction. While Britain adjusts to new leadership after Keir Starmer's resignation, Colombia inaugurates right-wing President Abelardo de la Espriella, and Europe reels from its worst wildfire and heatwave season on record. Meanwhile, AI continues to reshape markets and geopolitics. The DRC's Ebola outbreak has become the largest in the country's history, and NASA readies its next great space telescope for launch. Globe showing Europe, Africa, North America. U.S. trade war with Canada escalated as new 50% tariffs took effect Saturday on $20 billion of Canadian exports, including wine, furniture, and hockey sticks. Canada's PM Mark Carney is weighing retaliation. Treasury Secretary Bessent is spelling out fresh Iran sanctions today targeting any bank or company still trading with Tehran. Tropical storm Moke continues dumping rain on storm-weary Hawaii's Big Island. Texas enacted a moratorium on new data centers amid grid strain concerns. Globe showing Europe, Africa, Europe. Keir Starmer resigned as UK PM in June. Andy Burnham has since taken over as Labour leader/PM, marking Britain's 7th PM in a decade. Greece issued red code wildfire alerts and activated a heatwave hotline as a prolonged heatwave began Monday, August 24th, with temperatures forecast up to 42 degrees Celsius. Western Europe just recorded its hottest June-July period ever measured, with 2026 fire emissions in France and Spain rivaling the extreme years of 2022 to 2023. Ukraine war continues. Russian missile/drone barrages have struck residential areas of Kyiv. Globe showing Asia, Australia, Asia. A wildfire is raging through peatland forest in North Kalimantan, Indonesia. South Korea's Kospi and other regional markets traded lower Monday. Pakistan's army chief is visiting Tehran for talks amid the Iran standoff. China's Chang'e 7 lunar South Pole mission remains delayed by weather. A Chinese firm, Landspace, became the first commercial Chinese company to land an orbital booster. India-Japan and India-China diplomatic engagement continues against a backdrop of Trump-era tariff pressure on Indian exports. Globe showing Asia, Australia, Oceania. Cook Islanders are voting in parliamentary elections amid a cost-of-living crisis and debate over past China ties. Sydney Airport has seen 4 near-miss incidents in the past month, raising air safety questions. Australia's federal government is pushing new national laws regulating where AI data centers can be sited, how they're powered, and where they draw water. Mosque, Middle East. Iran's Supreme National Security Council chief warned any country joining U.S. sanctions would be treated as an enemy. The Navy continues blockading Iranian ports while Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed. Shipping through the strait remains near just 4% of pre-conflict levels, though a handful of tankers are being allowed through. Israel is advancing an internationally condemned West Bank settlement plan that critics say could end hopes for a two-state solution. Former Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad was sentenced to death in absentia, raising questions about Syria's post-war future. Globe showing Europe, Africa, Africa. Clashes broke out in Mogadishu after Somali authorities began demolishing homes in a land reclamation operation, injuring around 10 people. Cape Town taxi violence has sparked emergency talks in South Africa. A bus crash in Zimbabwe killed 2 and injured 22. DRC's Ebola, Bundibugyo virus, outbreak is now the largest ever recorded in the country, with case totals climbing past 5,000 and a fatality rate around 44%. DR Congo and the M23/AFC Rebel Alliance have agreed on a peace talks roadmap in Doha-mediated negotiations. Globe showing America's South America. Colombia's Abelardo de la Espriella took office August 7th after the narrowest presidential runoff margin in the country's history, beating leftist Iván Cepeda by under 1 percentage point. Deadly storms have struck Chile, destroying homes. Argentina's legislative election campaign season is underway ahead of October voting.
Globe showing America's Central America. Central American nations are watching U.S. anti-drug trafficking naval operations closely. U.S. forces struck another suspected drug trafficking vessel in the eastern Pacific this weekend, killing 2. Regional migration and security cooperation with the U.S. remains a dominant theme. Globe showing America's Latin America and the Caribbean. Migrant relocation from Ceuta's overcrowded border camp continues as Spain manages fallout from a mass border surge. Venezuela continues naval and drone deployments along its Caribbean coastline amid tensions with Washington. Soccer ball global sports. The U.S. Open tennis tournament is underway in New York. MLB pennant races are heating up as the regular season nears its close. College football's first full week kicks off this week. World Rowing Championships begin today in Amsterdam. ICF Canoe Sprint and UCI Mountain Bike World Championships start later this week. WNBA playoff races remain tight with the regular season wrapping up September 24th. Rocket Global Space. NASA's Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope is in final launch prep, targeting liftoff no earlier than August 30th aboard a SpaceX Falcon Heavy from Kennedy Space Center. A spacewalk is scheduled for Tuesday, August 25th, as NASA and ESA astronauts replace a space-to-ground antenna on the ISS. The Artemis II crew is set to receive the Congressional Space Medal of Honor after becoming the first humans in 50-plus years to fly beyond the moon. SpaceX has now topped 100 orbital missions for the year and exceeded 11,000 Starlink satellites in orbit. Robot Artificial Intelligence (AI). Google's A2A agent protocol formally joined the Linux Foundation-backed Agentic AI Foundation alongside Anthropic's Model Context Protocol, with 250-plus member companies now standardizing agent interoperability. OpenAI's Public S1 IPO filing is expected imminently ahead of a targeted September listing. Nvidia's earnings this Wednesday are seen as a referendum on the durability of the AI capex boom, with markets already jittery over chip sector strength. A Cambridge professor's death following plagiarism accusations has reignited debate over academic originality in the generative AI era. Classical building global leaders. Andy Burnham now leads the UK as PM following Starmer's resignation. Colombia's Abelardo de la Espriella began his term August 7th. U.S. President Trump continues to press Iran, Canada, and allies simultaneously on trade and nuclear issues. Fed Chair Kevin Warsh delivers his first Jackson Hole keynote Friday. Moneybag Global Finance. U.S. stocks opened mixed Monday. S&P 500 down 0.24%, Dow up 0.25%, Nasdaq down 0.55%, as investors weighed Iran sanctions and U.S. Canada tariff threats. Nvidia reports fiscal Q2 results Wednesday. The 10-year Treasury yield sits near 4.74%, a 20-month high, with the Fed's next rate decision not due until September 16th. Gold is trading near $4,645 per oz and Bitcoin around $77,000. Oil Brent hovers near $94 per barrel on Hormuz-related supply concerns. Hospital Global Health, who reports the DRC Ebola, Bundibugyo strain, outbreak has surpassed 3,700 cases and 1,650 deaths, prompting the first-ever species-specific vaccine trials in the UK and Canada. Reuters estimates roughly 10,000 excess deaths from Europe's June heatwave alone, with health systems across the continent under continued strain from repeated heatwaves. Clapperboard Global Entertainment. New TV premieres this week include Netflix's true crime documentary, Death of the Pastor's Wife, and NFL-themed food series, NFL Hometown Eats. Award season buzz continues around 2026 film releases including the Super Mario Galaxy movie, Michael, and Project Hail Mary, among the year's top grossers. Star Global Celebrities. Entertainment outlets are covering ongoing celebrity fashion, birthday, and relationship news cycles, TMZ, Just Jared, with no single dominant global celebrity story breaking today. NFL legend Drew Brees discussed Patrick Mahomes' ACL recovery in a widely shared interview. Laptop Computer Global Technology. AI Agent Standardization, MCP/A2A, and Enterprise AI rollout continue to dominate tech headlines. Nvidia is reportedly weighing a stake in Perplexity as competition in AI search intensifies. Robotics milestones continue in China, including humanoid robot competitions and a Blockbuster robotics IPO. Chart increasing global stock market. The S&P 500 declined about 0.3% and Nasdaq 100 fell 1% in early Monday trading as investors braced for a heavy week of data and earnings. Asian markets were mostly lower Monday, Hang Seng, CSI 300, Kospi, Nifty 50 Nikkei all down, while Australia's ASX 200 bucked the trend. European markets traded mixed in early Monday sessions. Thank you for watching. See you next time.